right. Good morning, everybody. Welcome to the third and final day of our virtual warrior workshop. We're going to start the morning off with some coffee, 'cause it's 9 o'clock here on the East Coast and 7 o'clock on the West Coast. I'm going to get a sip in real quick. Do a quick run through of the agenda for today. So as I mentioned, from 10 to 11, we're going to do a open chat with some state leaders. And we're going to talk about our experiences here at Wolfpack, experiences over the weekend, and hopefully bring a few people on to answer some questions. Shortly after that, starting at 11, we're going to be going flying with Doug Hughes. It's going to be live stream. This is going to be really cool. I actually was part of some of the tests, and I have to say it was pretty awesome and also somewhat scary when he was doing some tricks and getting really close to the ground. So we don't want to miss that, and we're going to be asking him some questions while he's flying his gyrocopter, and that's going to be 11 o'clock to 12 p.m. Eastern. Right after that, we're going to have how Congress became corrupt. This is going to be a presentation with the brilliant minds of Sam Fieldman, our national counsel, and also the University of Wyoming law professor Ken Chesnick, who is also a pretty awesome guy. And when he came to our workshop a few years ago, probably had one of the best mountain hats I think I've ever seen in my life. So maybe he'll wear that today. But if not, you'll still be in for a treat. We'll have an open Q&A. This is actually going to be with our leadership council. We've mentioned this a few times over the weekend. Here at Wolfpack, we actually have a leadership council that primarily acts like a board. We make all decisions together on a consensus-based model, and it is the 3 full-time employees with about 10 of our most veteran volunteers here at Wolfpack, and they're just awesome. So we're going to try to answer some questions from all of you, some of the ones that we weren't able to get to in the chat. Many of you, and I know I saw some questions over the weekend about how do we get our message out there? How do we get op-eds published? How do we get into media? Well, you definitely want to check out the one we're doing today at 2 p.m. It's Learn from the Expert, and that's exactly what they're going to be talking about. And we have Jonathan Larson, the managing editor and executive producer of TYT. We had David Myers, the publisher and executive editor of The Fulcrum. We have Mark Shapiro, writer, journalist, managing editor at Baltimore Jewish Times. Maurice Mendez, traveling editor, U.S. News and World Report, and then Sam Daly Harris, the founder and principal, Civic Courage. And then we're going to have Reiner Goldman, our national communications director, hosting that panel as well. So definitely want to check that out. Our communications team has been killing it with all the promotions and graphics for this weekend. So Reina's going to lead that awesome panel. We have how to build and maintain a team from the legendary Allison Hartson and Kristen Peluso. They are going to talk about the high-level leadership strategy, what it takes to really build and maintain a leadership and a team. 4 p.m., we have the power of preparation. John Shen, the man, the myth, the legend, the closer, as we call him, our legislative director, is going to talk about, the importance of getting prepared for a committee hearing. Right after that, we're going to have some fun. And also mix in some learning, and we're going to do a survivor style committee hearing. And that is going to be some of our top volunteers going through a mock simulated committee hearing, answering questions about legislation. And the audience, so those of you who bought a ticket, if you want a ticket, you can go to wolf-pack.com/workshop. If you're listening on social media, it's only $10, and that money also goes to helping movement here. And for that, if you have a ticket, audience will actually be the ones voting who the winner is in that survivor style committee hearing. So that's going to be a lot of fun. And then last but certainly not least, the founder of Wolfpack, I'm sure all of you here know, Jen Kuger is going to be doing our closing ceremonies. So he's going to be writing a closing speech. And if you've heard and before our workshops, his closing speeches are the epic. You definitely don't want to miss that. But we're also going to be going over some awards. Some of the silent auction winners, the virtual 5K volunteer awards, etc. Last bit of things before we jump into the coffee with state leaders, I wanted to do just a couple of quick reminders. We do have the silent auction running pretty much for the remainder of the workshop today only, and you can get to that by going to wolf-pack.com/live, and we have some really great stuff on there. I actually worked with the events team to get a lot of these things. Armando was great in helping as well. We also had a lot of volunteers donate some really awesome stuff. So definitely want to check that out. Nita, who's with us this morning, is offering a $2,000 timeshare The current bid on that is only 600 folks. Like, let's jump on that. We're also offering airfare and lodging to next year's workshop that we hope to be in person. And currently that's only at 300. So we have some really good stuff on there. Jayson, who's been basically producing this whole thing all weekend, and running this through all of the social media platforms. He's donated a couple of pieces of jewelry that are just really beautiful. We have the Game Changer book that's been signed by Rob Engel, the founder of Dictionary. And if you guys watched last night, it was an absolute blast. The list just goes on and on and on. There's Santa Fe, salt, and lip balm. There's Wolfpack bags. There's embroidered designs. Have a song written about you. Some overalls. There's some art. There's some gift cards. You name it. We got it all there. So again, that's wolf-pack.com/live, and all those proceeds go to Wolfpack and help us be able to, maintain and keep what we have here and build. We want to make sure we can keep the awesome minds of Sam Fieldman, the awesome communications director Rena, and bring Grant on full time. Who already works full time, but we got to pay the man like he's full time. So you got to help us. So that's it for the rundown for today. So buckle up. We got a impact day to finish out the weekend, but we're going to start off smooth, if you will. I should add some jazz music for that intro. But we're gonna have some coffee with state leaders and just kind of go around the room. So you all ready to kick it off?
Yep. Sure thing.
All right. Cool. I'm just going to go around the room really quick. If you can, when I say your name, just go ahead and introduce yourself. Tell us what state you're in and what role you have. So let's start off with Ronnie.
Hi, Ronnie Kellogg, Nebraska, organizer.
Awesome. Thank you for joining us, Ronnie.
Thanks, Josh.
Ronnie is incredible. Keeping the incredible list going. Joan. Bunker Joan, you there?
I'm here. Can you hear me?
We can. Loud and clear.
Hi, everybody. I'm Joan Lundy, National Coordinator. I work with Alabama, Oklahoma, Idaho, and Mississippi teams. And since I'm the designated survivor, I'm in a bunker, so I can't tell you what state I'm in.
A quick funny story. Did Beck gave you that name, right? Kind of happened like organically, right?
That happened. Well, I had said that I was in a bunker, and Jen called me Bunker Joan at the leadership workshop in LA.
Yeah. So we try to do leadership workshops with like our core leadership team. If you were with us yesterday, kind of outlined our national coordinator structure and our director structure. And those folks, we do leadership summits, and I think actually joined us for one. and we were talking to Joan because she couldn't make it, and as she said, she was in a bunker. So Jank, being all been, being Jank, gave her the Bunker Joan name, and it just stuck. So she's our designated survivor if things go awry. So thank you, Joan. Scott, there.
I am. Good morning, everyone. My name is Scott Bagwitz. I am a national coordinator. I work with the teams of Georgia and Florida, and I'm also Florida's organizing director. Now, I live in Jacksonville, Florida, which is the northeastern part of the state, and been with Wolfpack for about 4 years.
Awesome. Thank you, Scott. And one thing you'll notice about our leaders is we're all very modest. You want to introduce yourself as national coordinator. It's like one of 25 titles she has here at Wolfpack. In all seriousness, Scott is actually also helping me, as I mentioned yesterday with Kristen. We're doing a complete build of like a learning management system for Wolfpack. Everything we know and have helped us over the years and making it even better to expand our knowledge and pass it off. Amanda Fish. So Scott's helping with that. So thank you for joining us this morning, Scott.
Absolutely.
All right, let's keep it going. Anita, you there?
Hey, everybody. It's Anita from Washington State. I'm the organizing director here. Hi. Good morning.
Morning. Dean. Steve, you there?
I am. My name is Steve, and I am from the California team. I am just a volunteer. I don't have any title within California, but I think that I might be the second longest tenured person on this call. So I've been around for a while.
And for those of you who tuned in last night with the karaoke and some of the fun things we did, a few people on here, Bo, Steve, and A few people from the Iowa team, like Alicia, just want to give them a shout out. They have done a great job keeping the virtual events going. But even after this workshop, we're going to keep having virtual events. We're going to keep having games and karaoke nights, even out like months from out. So definitely check those out. If you're not signed up already, go to wolf-pack.com. If you sign up for our newsletters, if you sign up to be a volunteer, we'll get those notifications for those fun events in the future as well. So thank you, Steve. And being it going, why don't we just go with Bo? There, Bo?
Hey now, my name is Bo Yi. I am in Massachusetts and I'm the community director.
All right, perfect. Silver Fox, you there?
I'm here. So Eric Benavides, New Hampshire, national coordinator with Wolfpack, and I also am the state leader in New Hampshire.
I'm feeling your porch vibes.
Yeah, I know. I got you, brother. I got you.
The Portuguese connection. All right, Jeff, you there?
Yeah, I'm here.
So Jeff, you want to tell everybody just quickly your name and your role in your state?
Yeah, sure. Howdy. My name is Jeff Eitzness. I live in Washington State, and I'm the communications director here.
Welcome, Jeff.
Thanks.
I'm sure many of you know the now famous Josh Hall from last night's Pictionary, but Josh, you want to introduce yourself? I don't know if I should have said that now. Now I'm going to have to deal with that every time we talk.
Hey, the Kauthar out of the bag. I will be famous once for the 6th state to pass.
There you go.
My name is Josh Hall. I'm a volunteer organizer with Kansas. And yeah, I don't have a fancy title like the rest of all these people, but I put Kansas
probably more of one of our newer leaders on here, right?
Oh yeah, I mean, there's been a couple newer leaders, but I'm probably the newest leader of this.
Okay.
I think
quickly getting right into the leadership pack, even with folks who have been here for years. So always a pleasure, Josh. Natalie, are you there?
Yes, I'm Natalie Starrett. I'm in Georgia, and I'm the legislative director.
All right. Well, let's drive safe. We're not going to go too much, Natalie. And then last but certainly not least, great legal mind who's been studying Article 5 and has been critical to Wolfpack's success and growth here, Sam Fieldman.
Thanks. Hi, I'm Sam Fieldman. I'm national counsel. I signed up for Wolfpack on the first day and been here ever since. The adorable little person who was sitting on my lap earlier, and those are her words. She told me to say that. What I would have anyway. Was Ginny, and my other daughter is Hannah. They were born a few weeks later after Wolfpack started, and they're the reason why I do this.
Nothing's a greater motivator than little ones, huh? Trying to save them for them. I'm feeling the United Against Corruption stuff in the background there, Sam.
Yeah, that's the sign from our rally in Washington, D.C. They didn't have any use for it. They were going to throw it out, and I thought, I don't really have any use for it either, but I didn't think it should be thrown out. So I shoved it into my suitcase. And
yeah, and for those of you watching, I think Manu actually mentioned this yesterday too on one of their panels. We held a United Against Corruption rally in D.C. I think it was in February or January, and it was freezing. But we brought a lot of groups together, and trying to bring more unity to the movement. You know, one of the things here at Wolfpack, as you learned throughout the weekend, is we really do understand the urgency needed to address this issue. So what better way to do this than making sure we have allies and we're all working together? So
I think, Bo, weren't you one of the people holding that sign?
I was.
And Eric, right?
And Eric.
Eric too, yeah.
Held it up straight for what? 5 hours?
It felt like 5 hours.
Especially in that cold. Hopefully we do that again. So if you sign up at wolf-pack.com, you'll get those notifications when we do, events like that with other groups as well. So let's jump into it. I wanted to go around the room, and the title of this morning is, chat with leaders, over some coffee. So we can keep it pretty, loose, as you can see me with my Wolfpack hoodie out on my porch this morning. What I really wanted to do was go around the room and just ask each one of the leaders here, what is kind of your fondest and greatest memory at Wolfpack as a volunteer so far, and also from the weekend. So let's go around the room again, and we'll start off with Ronnie again.
Oh, hi. So I've been casting my head around, casting my memory back.
It's all right, man. It's early. Gotta have fun.
Through my time at Wolfpack, and I think the first memory that kind of popped in my head from my time was going to the workshop last year, and I think the memory that sticks out the most is the time when we were all trying to go to karaoke, and there was this, and I was hanging out with Guy, and I think you were there too, Bo, weren't you? And I think I was walking with you, Bo. Wasn't I walking with you that time?
Yes.
Yeah, I was walking with Bo, and we were gonna go to sing karaoke, and I got to the bar, and I was like, "Oh my gosh, it's so smoky in here," and I eventually had to go because I was like, "Oh my goodness, I can't handle the smoke," and I was really looking forward to singing karaoke. And then I walked away with Guy O'Donnell, who's also another volunteer, and ended up having a great time. And then next thing I know, I'm sitting in a room with Sam Fieldman, and and he's saying all these very kind of talking about what was been going on with various organizations, and I was just like, oh my goodness, that's crazy,
The look on your face during that was my biggest memory of last year's workshop. It was just a priceless look on your face.
I appreciate that, Sam. And just meeting everybody, learning so many things. Jody's very powerful speech. Becky's talk about vulnerability. That workshop, it's by far my fondest memory of Wolfpack so far.
Awesome, man. And again, just a quick plug, go to wolf-pack.com and sign up, newsletters, donate, become a member, and you'll get those notifications because our in-person workshops are pretty awesome. I think some of us were definitely bummed out we couldn't do it in person this year. Obviously, understandably so. This weekend has definitely had some of our in-person vibe, but nothing can replace getting together with the people you're kind of in the trenches with year after year, fighting to save the country, having that opportunity to learn and see each other and ultimately blow off some steam and have some fun. That's something I try to do my best at bringing here to Wolfpack is no one ever said we couldn't have fun while we're saving the country. So yeah, thank you for that, Ronnie. What's been your takeaway from this weekend, this workshop?
Well, it was a joy working with John and Jody to prepare the storytelling panel, and working with Jody to do the storytelling panel. She's awesome, incredibly so. And I loved watching people having fun doing Pictionary and karaoke. Was awesome.
Same here. And super quick, while I got you, Ronnie, I will say one of my fondest memories here at Wolfpack, and I'll never forget it, is I think it was last year. We were working with Ronnie on his testimony for the Nebraska hearing. We've been knocking on the door in Nebraska for years, having committee hearings there. We have some good support, a great sponsor. And it was actually the first time I've ever seen somebody on a committee cry. And it was from Ronnie's speech just because it was that good and that personal and just very passionate. So what better person to talk about the power of personal than Ronnie. So thank you for that, Ronnie. That's one of my more fonder memories that I will definitely remember for a lifetime.
They were supposed to grill him after that, and they just didn't. Which is very realistic to how that would go in real life.
Yeah, nobody asked any questions.
To be fair, I was the expert witness, and I don't even think I got any questions. Yeah, but we've been there year after year, so we're going to pass in Nebraska at some point. If you're in Nebraska, sign up. Ronnie's got a great team he's building.
Yes, please.
trying to help them get that team real strong so we can come into next year even stronger. All right, let's keep it going. Joan, what's your fondest memory of Wolfpack so far and also this weekend?
So my most outstanding memory from Wolfpack came from my first visit to the state legislature to meet with my senator. I had never done anything like that before. In fact, I didn't even know that people did those kind of things. I just assumed that politicians did their business, and I don't know, I guess I didn't really think about it. But Wolfpack was going to the state legislature, and one of the volunteers called me and said, would I go? I almost didn't go because it's a 6-hour drive one way. But I talked to my husband, and he said, let's go. I'll take some pictures. There's a sanctuary near there. So we drove, took all day. We got a hotel room, and the next morning, bright and early, I was at the legislature. And I wasn't sure what door to go in because it's an enormous building. But I saw all the staff sort of filing in this basement door. So I followed them in. And consequently, I got up to the registration desk for the Senate. I think I was the first visitor to put my name down. And she told me to take a seat. And so I took a seat, and I thought, well, I guess I'll sit here all day. And 10 minutes later, she came out and said, he'll see you at 20 after 9. And I thought, holy cow. I went to see Jeff. You can see Jeff Eidsness down there. He's got a moon picture on a wolf behind him. And said, oh, we've got a meeting at 20 after 9. And Mike Mineta was there. So it got to be 20 after 9, and I went to the door. And the lady came out to usher me in, and she said, no, just you, not any of your friends, not them. And I froze, but she let me in, and then I was in a lobby. I was so stupid, you guys. I didn't even realize that my senator was the Senate Majority Leader. So he had the big corner office with a lobby with plants and couches and tables and waiters. So I get led through this enormous waiting room full of all these guys in these really nice suits who were all looking at me. They were all giving me the snake eye. What I know now is that they were the professional lobbyists, and I was being taken in first, and they wondered who the heck I was.
Wow.
So I was shown into the Senate Majority Leader's office, and just as I passed through the doorway, I had a full-on panic because I saw the sign. And I went in and sat down, and darned if the guy didn't give me a private 20-minute audience. And it was so nice to me that I totally relaxed, and it was a great meeting.
Mm-hmm.
But when I came out, the lobbyists were eyeballing me again. And I came out and I spoke to Jeff, and I said, who are those people? He said, Joan, those are the lobbyists. They're probably wondering who you are. And I thought, wow, I have to tell you, I floated on a pink cloud for the whole rest of the day. It was so empowering. It was so empowering to think that I could have accomplished something like that. And so to all of you out there, anybody who may be watching, who may be thinking, oh, these guys really know what they're doing. Believe me, when we began, each one of us, we didn't know SH asterisk. So maybe Sam Fieldman. And it's way worth doing. You know, most people don't even bother to call their state legislator. And a way even smaller proportion even go over there to meet with them. And let me tell you, those meetings have a very powerful impact. So I encourage you to do it.
So I'm being told from headquarters. Hold on. Just kidding. We don't have that kind of equipment. I'm being told we're going to try to wrap up a little quicker to get to Doug I think they're going to be ready a little bit earlier. I'll try to get as many people as I can in the next 5 minutes. But let's try to keep it to just your fondest memory of Wolfpack, and if we have time, we'll circle back to this weekend. I want to make sure I get some of the
Hey,
West.
Josh.
Yep.
Hey, just so you know, you have a little more time than that. We just want to make sure we get Doug Hughes set up in time, so you can run this all the way to like 10:55 if you want.
Thanks, headquarters is coming in live, folks. All right. Well, we'll keep it going then. We got time.
Yes. I'll go make sure Doug is good. All right.
All of these voices.
Thank you.
Thanks, guys. All right, Anita, can you tell us kind of what your fondest memory is so far, and also this weekend?
Yeah, absolutely. I just had to make sure my microphone was, in front of my face. My fondest memory of Wolfpack is actually one of my hardest memories of Wolfpack as well.
I like it already.
Last year I went to the workshop and I was almost brand new. I was like an organizer for 2 months, and I felt like I was gonna get devoured, and I did. But everybody was made sure that I was there to land on my feet, and it was a crash course in Wolfpack, and I got grilled during the mock committee hearing. That was fun, and I learned a lot, I grew a lot, and I made a lot of really neat friends. So I felt very supportive, even though it was this big crash course for me.
Awesome. What about this weekend? What's your takeaway, favorite thing so far?
This weekend, I think it was when Mike was talking about, my phone. Mike was talking about to the live stream about buying tickets, signing up, getting people involved, and my phone just started going ding, ding,
Volunteers.
ding, and I looked at it, and we had gotten a new volunteer for Washington State, and one of our longtime volunteers stepped up, emailed me and just said, "Hey, I want to be an organizer." So I've got work to do this week. I'm looking forward to it.
Good work, right? And the kind we look forward to.
Yes, it is.
Well, thank you for joining us this morning, and obviously for all the things you're doing. Help us continue to grow stronger in Washington.
Yeah.
All right, let's keep it going. Why don't we stay on Washington? Make sure we get some of the West Coast, because you guys got up real early. Jeff, you there?
Yeah. So I want to say, I mean, gosh, it's so easy to say like any of the workshops, because there's just something about stepping into a room of like, so for each of us, like we're so passionate, we're like moved to do something. And for me, like the cool thing about the workshop was that finally I was in a room full of 100 other people that cared as much, if not more than I did. It was like I had finally found my peeps. And even though by the time we had the first workshop, I'd already been doing Wolfpack for, a couple of years, it was still like I had found my tribe, like I had known Josh and Mike and everybody for years, but like to, meeting it face to face really made a huge difference. So, the workshops are always like part of my favorite memories, is just like meeting the people. Wolfpack has introduced me to some of the greatest people, in the country. So, yeah, I mean, I want to say the workshops just because that's the easy answer.
No problems, man. I mean, I would probably agree with you. I think most people will have pretty. I mean, there's probably even some stories we can't even share on this live stream that are pretty memorable to me.
Well, so okay, I guess the one of the best memories I have was in 2016 when we passed in the House. That was surreal. Like Josh and everybody yesterday was talking about in Rhode Island when they like couldn't feel their legs walking and stuff. Like that's for reals, because when we passed the House, I was just like not discombobulated but disoriented. Like it was when you look up at that billboard, and like normally you're looking up there and you're just disgusted or disappointed or whatever.
See a
But
bunch
like
of red.
finally you get to see a win for us, and it's like, wow, we did that. All the people, just calling, that was all it took. I mean, we all worked hard, but like, it wasn't something that the average person couldn't do. It was within our reach, so that was really empowering.
So, man, what's your takeaway from the weekend so far? Anything stand out to you?
Just that there's an appetite for this. People want to do it, and it's starting to be taking this conversation. Like when I started in 2013, nobody knew anything. Like legislators, nobody knew anything about us or about this, and there's an appetite for it, and it only ever grows. It's only ever gotten stronger. And I mean, if we're not close to critical mass now, I'd be afraid for when we do.
Awesome, man. Let's keep it going. We only got about 10 minutes, so I want to try to get all of you in. Let's go with Josh. You there, Josh?
I am.
What's memory so far, Wolfpack, and quick takeaway from the weekend?
Yeah, so I'm gonna try to get specific with it. And it's going to start off slightly negative, but I promise gets better. So last year's workshop was the best experience I've ever had, both in my entire life, but also with Wolfpack. And to this day, I will never forget last year's weekend that I went to Dallas, Texas, and hung out with you guys. And one of the first people that I saw was Aces. And I'm sorry, Aces, you're gonna hate this, but you were a lot shorter than I thought you'd be.
Dare you? Much more handsome in person, right?
True. But dude, I just came up and I had my arms wide and I just gave him a big hug and he gave me a big hug back. And I just knew I was in the right place. And everybody saw me because I was on the state leader video calls. And they're like, oh my gosh, I got a name to a face. And everybody knew me and everybody loved me. But the most memorable and significant memory was when we were doing strategy and I was like being super negative about it. And I was like, I don't have a strategy, blah, blah, blah. And then Todd Yeager came up and he's like, guys, this is that sweet nougaty feeling of that conference. And there was somebody from Texas, I cannot remember her name for the life of me, but she gave an amazing presentation about Dare to Lead, Dr. Brene Brown. And that was like life-changing. Like I almost bawled in front of you guys, if I'm being honest. Like when I stood up, I am forever a changed person. Like I had conversations with her, and like the whole, but that was like the most significant memory for me was just hearing that, like, it's okay to be afraid to lead. Like the biggest thing that I admitted to myself was I'm afraid of failing Wolfpack. And but one of the things I learned is so was everybody else. Leah Lancaster stood up and pretty much like admitted her greatest fear, like that she didn't feel like she was a leader. Like it was so surreal to hear other people's fears as well. But as she said, Leah Lancaster says, we are each other's greatest resources. We always have each other's back. We will always pick each other up. We are always here to support each other. Every single one. I will be here to support you guys. You guys will be here to support me. So my fondest memory, just keep it going, of this weekend was literally just hanging out last night for a few hours, just talking to Ryan Buchanan on a Zoom link about politics. And that's what we do. I don't know how we talk about politics for hours. We're all obsessed with it. Yeah, we just hung out and talked in Zoom for like hours at a time about politics with Justin as well.
That's awesome, man. Just, super quick before we keep it going. Ryan Buchanan is representative in New Hampshire who actually joined us at our in-person workshop in Dallas last year. And even though he's newer to our workshops, he is also somebody that fit right in, and he is now one of us. So shout out to Ryan, who's probably watching this now. Thank you for having that call with Josh last night to help him out, and that's awesome, man. So we got about 7 minutes. So if you can try to summarize your experience, your takeaways as quickly as possible. Let's go to Bo.
My fondest memory is probably 4 years ago when I went to the State House in Boston for the first time, spurred by a Wolfpack email. This was the committee hearing. The room was packed with supporters. The who's who and Wolfpack leadership was there. Everybody was spot on with their testimony, and I was super inspired. And then and there, I decided to become an active Wolfpack volunteer.
I'm so glad you shared that because I was going to if you didn't. That's my fondest memory of you, is you telling me that story. It's awesome, man. What about this weekend?
Running the Joke Boat game show was fun. It wasn't my best showing, but I was relieved that everything went pretty smoothly. And yesterday, the 5K event was great with Jenk and Rena. I ran a 5K for the first time, and I submitted my time, so I'm proud of that.
Awesome, thanks. And as I mentioned, Bo is one of the leaders who helps to run our virtual event. So you can check that out, wolf-pack.com/events. And the walk, run, biking will continue as we try to all collectively reach 28 million steps. And that's wolf-pack.com/step up. Scott, your takeaway for the weekend and your fondest memory. You can do it in a minute. You're my favorite person.
All right, I'll definitely try. So I'm disappointed because I had to work yesterday, so I missed a good portion of the content. But
it's all recorded, buddy. We got you.
Yes, I really enjoyed Lawrence Lessig's opening session on Friday night. I thought that was really intriguing, and especially how he tied it to current events, campaign finance to current events. Of course, I always love the organic and the informal times together as a team, and so I really enjoyed playing Codenames on Friday night. And Steve, thank you so much for that. As well as karaoke last night. In terms of favorite, like Wolfpack memory itself, it's hard to pick one. I just love hanging out with the Florida team, and just some of the mundane stuff we do together is just so powerful and impactful. Just to know that we're making strides towards such a big thing, and just working with all the great people. I think one of my favorite memories, one of the most powerful memories for me, was actually having a meeting with a senator in the Florida Capitol. It was an impromptu meeting, and it was a Democrat, and I was sitting in the lobby. Basically, the aide came out and said, "Okay, yeah, the senator should be able to meet with you in a few minutes. So just sit down here, and he'll be right in." I was looking up on my phone, just trying to prep myself, for the meeting. And I found out that I dug up all this dirt on him. There was all these controversial articles about, some personal stuff. And I was like, oh, I don't know how this is going to go. I don't know who this person is. Again, I was just trying to go around and get an impromptu, as many meetings as I could on a trip out there, because the Capitol's pretty far from where I live. And so from where everyone lives. But long story short, I ended up going in there. He spouted out, convention fears. And, by talking about, the safety of Article 5 and the fact that this is ultimately a plan to pressure Congress, he just kind of interrupted me halfway and said, "Okay, I'm convinced." And I was kind of taken back by it, because he so abruptly kind of stopped me and was like, "No, you convinced me. You're good. I'll vote yes on it." I was so taken back by that I was like, "Awesome. Thank you so much, Senator." It was a fantastic meeting. Certainly wasn't anything I don't think I did. It was easy to change his mind, I guess. But the reason that was so powerful for me was because it was the first and actually the only meeting I've had where I've stepped into an office and the person's, the senator's mind was changed from what it was before. And it helped me realize that by just having conversations with people, we can indeed have an impact on them. And, not every, a lot of meetings that we have are just people being non-committal. And that's the vast majority of the meetings that we've had in Florida. But to be able to have that was just so energizing, and it was so powerful, because I realized we can have an impact. We can, as ordinary citizens, change elected officials' minds on this. So that was probably one of my favorite memories.
And on a side note, I was making a joke about he thought I was going to be taller, which I think I'll take. It just means the way I talk and stuff, I sound like I'd be taller. It sounds like it would be a compliment. But Scott was actually taller than I was anticipating. Hey, Scott. So that literally just stood out to me. But awesome, Scott, man. It's always a pleasure working with you. Looks like we have a little bit more time, but if you guys can try to keep it to a minute so we can make sure we get to everybody, that would be great. Let's keep it going. Let's do Natalie. You there? You safe? Can you talk?
I am here. I think my greatest memory was actually from one of our game nights. We were playing Pictionary, and I am so proud of myself. It was one of the really hard words, and I guessed transpose. Somebody drew a matrix and then drew a transposed matrix, and I knew exactly what that was. So I was quite proud of myself. And I think this weekend, probably the karaoke. I did suffer some secondhand embarrassment, but it was very entertaining. And yeah, I laughed a lot.
Awesome. And again, we keep those virtual events going, wolf-pack.com/events. Let's go with Steve. You there?
I am.
Steve's another member of the
So the
virtual
questions
event
are.
team.
Yes, I remember that moment with that Natalie was talking about. So favorite thing from the weekend and favorite thing from Wolfpack?
Yeah, fondest memory. Wolfpack, best thing from the weekend.
Yeah, no. So my favorite thing from this weekend thus far, I really enjoyed your panel with Kristen yesterday. I thought that was very well done. I really liked the sort of fake
phone call.
The phone call, which was like, oh my god, I'm getting I'll take it. Oh no, look who it is. So no, I liked that. I liked the content of everything. I thought that was really well done, and it's been kind of a long time and since I have really seen you or Chris for an extended period of time. So that was a lot of fun. My fondest memory was in Salt Lake City. It was the Friday night before. I mean, we had a meet and greet on Friday night, but it was before the workshop had officially begun. And a bunch of us piled into Jody's room, and we were playing a card game, about 10 of us. And we had gotten a bunch of noise complaints for various things for that throughout the night from the hotel staff. So we were trying to whisper very, very quietly as we could. And nobody exactly, it was Matt Reed and Matt Mazzola and Jackie and a couple of other, Armando was there. Nobody exactly knew the rules to the game, and including the person that was trying to teach it. And so what followed was maybe 30 minutes of absolute chaos, where in the middle, like somebody would take a turn and then somebody would say, oh wait, I actually remember that you need to put down a pair of something. And they were just like, what do you mean? I've planned my turn out for like the last 20 minutes to try to figure out, so this is my turn. It's like, no, you actually need a pair of kings to be able to make that actually work with the rest of the hand. So it was absolute train wreck. And at one point, Jody had said, we have to consult Article 5 because this game has run away. And so we started making jokes about we should recall the delegates and all of these things because of this game. And then at one point I said, this is like how our actual government functions. Like, it's total people playing cards at the same time that they didn't realize if it was their turn or not. So that is my fondest memory of doing something at Wolfpack, because we and at one point Armando said, can you go over the rules in Spanish so that I have a chance to win? I mean, it was as funny as anything that I've ever been involved in here.
Awesome. Thank you, Steve. Eric, a minute. Fondest memory. Best takeaway from the weekend.
Oh, man. So, like, the workshop is easy because I have so many fond memories of the workshop.
Oh, you got your nickname.
Yeah, I know. It's just anything that happens at the workshop is like my fondest memory. So I'm going to go through legislative as a fondest memory. So 2016, when we got our legislation through the Senate, which was amazing, and we got tabled in the House because of some bogus rule, and I was ready to pack it in. And Mike was too. We're like, we're done. We'll just next session. But my volunteers were like, no, we can't do this. We have to fight. And I was just like, so that night I ended up calling, over 200 House representatives to try and get them to get it off the table. And the next day we got, I don't even know, I think it was over 50 volunteers, which in New Hampshire is huge to get that many volunteers to the State House holding signs. And I think my fondest memory, even though we got it off the table, but we came 14 votes shy in a 400-member House of passing our legislation. I think my fondest memory was after that devastating loss, I had to go out of the State House doors on the steps, and all the volunteers were there, but I had to suck it up, and I had to give a speech to them about how proud it was, which I was, of them for coming out and fighting that day, and that it wasn't an if, it was a when, because we are on the right side. And I think that's the essence of what Wolfpack has given me, is the empowerment to know that I can fight and I can take a devastating loss, but get back up and be there for my volunteers who empower me to be there for them and to fight. So that's my greatest memory of this weekend. I would say that my greatest memory is Mike actually yesterday giving a talk about Wolfpack, and just seeing his growth over the last 5 years. Being in meetings with him with legislators, and just seeing how tight and how on point he is now and how clean, it's always inspired me to see him and how on point he is. So that's my fondest memory of this weekend.
Awesome. So I haven't gotten the cue to transfer over yet, so let's see if we can squeeze in Sam.
All right, I'll try to be quick. So there's so many answers to this question. I gave a different answer yesterday when I was talking to Jeff Clements. But the one I'm going to give today is when very early on, our first executive director, Chris, had just left, and we had nobody as the executive director. Mike and just a handful of other volunteers were holding Wolfpack together with elbow grease, and Mike called me up and said, "I've got this guy Todd who just got an agreement from his state legislator to introduce our resolution, and we have no resolution. You need to talk to him right now." So I called up Todd on the back of a bus going from Manhattan up to the Bronx. You weren't allowed to talk on that bus, and they get a little touchy about it. So I kind of lied down in the back seat and whispered, trying to figure out what's going on, what's this resolution supposed to say. Nobody knows about all this stuff when they start at Wolfpack, and that very much includes me. So I went online and found some other resolutions and tried my best to piece together something that would be our very first introduced resolution. And I got assurance from Todd, thankfully, that they could pull that resolution back and replace it with entirely new language, which is what we ended up doing a few weeks later when we had a new executive director. And I got on the phone with him, with Mike, with Jank, and Lawrence Lessig, which was my first time talking to a real expert in this stuff. I found out what our resolution was actually supposed to look like, wrote that with help from some of those other people, and then that got introduced, and that's how we got our very first resolution in.
That's awesome. I've shared that story, but not in that detail, just making the point that we are so focused on passing legislation that we just went right into state houses without a resolution. But we do got to wrap up. I will say very quickly in the wrap up, not to sound corny, but my takeaway from this weekend was actually this event. Like, I was messaging the guys, letting them know I could keep doing this all day if they need me to. So I think we should do this in the future for sure. There are a lot of stories we were not even able to get to, even with this group of people, like karaoke from first year's workshop. I think we're going to plan something on the virtual events team to do something like this in the very near future. This was awesome. So thank you all for getting up early this morning, having some coffee, sharing some stories. I look forward to working with all of you, continuing in your states. And many of us are actually going to be on the open Q&A at 1. We're going to do the council, as many members from here. But without further ado, Mike, are you there? Are we ready for Doug? I'm ready to go flying.